Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Whether you're listening during your commute, while working out, or just relaxing at home, we appreciate you. Every download, every listen, and every subscription means a lot. Up next, the 12 Kyle podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. The other day, I was driving past this elementary school, and on the marquee it said, "Students be prepared for picture day on Tuesday," and it gave the date. And it got me to thinking, like, wow, picture day in elementary school. And that kind of gave me a bigger picture as to what I wanted to talk about in this particular episode, like the stuff that we did in elementary school. Like elementary school, at least for me, was like light years ago. Like, it's funny because, like, although it's been that long, like I still have very fond memories of it. It's funny because maybe about a month or so ago, my homeboy Sean came through, and Sean is one of my oldest friends from elementary school. I think Sean and I met, I think we met in like second grade, I think. I don't think it was first grade. I think it was second grade, but I've known Sean since like second grade. And I remember, he always tells a story, like, he said he saw me like the first day of school, and he came over to me because I had on a Lando Calrissian t-shirt. Shout out to Lando from Star Wars, aka Billy D. Williams. So yeah, he came over. He was a big Star Wars fan, and so was I at the time. And we just started rapping, and we've been friends ever since. He came through about a month or so ago, and we had breakfast. But yeah, just seeing that marquee sign, like, wow, picture day. And that just made me think about, elementary school. Picture day in particular was always interesting. And I'll say this, and you don't have to admit to it because I know that this is true. Almost everybody under the sound of my voice has had at least 1 year where they took pictures and the pictures didn't look good. Myself included. Like, either your shirt was jacked up, or your hair was jacked up, or, just your overall gear was terrible. It's funny because I saw a clip of Janet Jackson talking about her, I think it was like third grade picture or something like that. And she commented that her knees were ashy. Now, I'm willing to bet that probably a few of you were ashy the days that you took pictures in elementary school. But yeah, picture day was always interesting because no matter who you are, no matter how fly you are now, no matter how, your gear looks now, there was a year that you came to school whack and you took a picture. And when you look at the picture now, you're like, ugh. And I say that as someone who has great self-esteem, and I think I look good. But yeah, my second grade year, oh man, that picture's jacked up. I would put it up here, but I'm not going to give y'all the satisfaction of seeing me look bummy. My shirt was jacked up. I think my collar was kind of crooked. It wasn't the best picture, but I was smiling. I was having a good time. But yeah, and my hair wasn't cut. Yeah, looking back on it, I looked a mess. But yeah, everybody takes a bad picture. But picture day was always cool because, for the most part, most of us kids, we came to school. I don't want to say we came dressed up because you didn't really come to school dressed up, but you had on, some decent clothes. Like you didn't. I can't remember any kids in my school taking pictures in like a t-shirt or anything. Like everybody, almost all the guys had collared shirts. All of the girls, pretty much had dresses. Now, here's the interesting thing about little girls is that, when you come for picture day, you're coming, when you leave home, your hair is nice. Like it's, your mom did it up and everything like that. But, you know, if you took pictures at 10 o'clock, your hair was probably jacked up. And if you took pictures after recess, oh, your hair was fried. I don't care who you are. We'll talk about recess a little later. But yeah, picture day was always cool because you got a chance to see some of your friends and yourself, you know, maybe dressed a little differently from, you know, what you would normally see. That was one of the things that I remember about elementary school. Picture day was always cool. Speaking of cool, actually something that was not cool. I always say, like, when you're in elementary school, your teachers are held in high regard. And I'll never forget one day we were going to lunch, I think, and the teachers' lounge. There was a place where the teachers kind of hung out at. It was called the teachers' lounge. And I distinctly remember we walked past the teachers' lounge and the door swung open. And it was like you were looking into the heavens because, you know, as an elementary school kid, like you really looked up to your teachers. Like, I don't know how kids feel about their teachers now, but, you know, in the 80s, you know, we loved our teachers. So anyway, this door swings open and I get a chance to peek into heaven. All of my favorite teachers are in there. And man, almost all of them were smoking cigarettes. They were smoking cigarettes. They were talking trash. They were talking about how stressed out they were. And all of this was within an earshot. Just the door flinging open, staying open for a half a second, and then closing. And that left me somewhat traumatized to see my teachers stressed out like that. But shout out to the teachers' lounge. Let's see what else was cool in elementary school. I went to elementary school at this school called McLaurin Elementary in Florence, South Carolina. And McLaurin is surprisingly still there. And what was interesting was one of the things that we got a chance to do when I was particularly like in the third and fourth grade, second, third, and fourth grade, was be the line leader. Now, I don't know if y'all had line leaders at your school, but the line leader, you got designated to be the line leader at least for a week. And if you were the line leader, that's exactly what you were. You were the guy or girl who led the line wherever the class went. So case in point, if you're in class and you got to go to the library, the line leader would be the guy or girl who would lead the class. So you took it was a sense of pride in that. I mean, like you're actually leading the class to the library. And then when it was time to go to lunch, you led the class to lunch. So you were first at everything. And, you know, one of the responsibilities for the line leader was not only to lead the class, but the line leader also opened the door. Now, somebody else held the door, but the line leader opened the door for the class to come in, whatever, you know, room we were entering. But being a line leader was dope, man. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked the fact of, Kyle leading the class. And I think my classmates, respected that. And that was cool. I don't know necessarily that there were line leaders at your school. I probably should ask my kids if they were ever the line. It might not have been something that they did at their school. And who knows? It could have just been something that we did in this small town in Florence, South Carolina at this one little elementary school called McLaurin. I don't know. But it was dope though. It was dope being the line leader. One other thing that I really, really enjoyed and I cherished, and I did this from fourth grade because our elementary school was pre-K to sixth grade. But in fourth grade, I was elected to be a member of the safety patrol. Listen, the safety patrol was everything. The safety patrol was like, it wasn't even, I can't even say we were like cops. We were like superheroes. We really were like superheroes. Now at our school, the safety patrol, you could be in the safety patrol from 4th grade to 6th grade, right? And some of the duties of the safety patrol was maybe you may have to be the one to pull the flag down or put it up at, when school started or at the end of school. You would help kids across the street, kids who walk to school. You would direct traffic. You would be in the hallways, and you would, if somebody was running down the hallway, you tell them to stop running. You were the ones who kind of, I don't want to say like we police things, because we weren't police, because you didn't tell on anybody, but you were literally like the superhero. Every kid looked up to kids who were in the safety patrol, and we had like this little badge that went on it and a little strap. The strap came across the chest, and it was dope, man. It was really, really dope. I thoroughly enjoyed being on the safety patrol. And here's the thing, you had to be elected on the safety patrol. Like, you just couldn't just be cool and get on there. Like, you had to be elected. And I think once you got on, I think you were good. But like, if you got in trouble, you could, like, let's say, I don't know, I'm on the safety patrol, and then like one day I start fighting Aaron. I beat Aaron up. Now I'm not on the safety patrol anymore because they would strip you of your badge. The safety patrol was dope. I thoroughly enjoyed being on the safety patrol. Like I said, especially the little kids, the pre-K kindergarten kids, the first graders, man, they looked up at us like we were super. It was like, he's on the safety patrol. Oh man, listen, I hope y'all feeling me on this. I don't know if y'all had safety patrol, because some of you may have gone to school where you had guns and stuff in school, so so there was no patrolling or nothing. Like, you had security guards, you had to go through like high level security. We didn't have that at my school, but again, we're a small rural town. But yeah, safety patrol was dope. Safety patrol. And I would love to see my old safety patrol strap and badge. That would be good. And the badge had safety patrol on it and everything. It was really, really dope. And so like we thoroughly enjoyed that. And like I said, I was elected, I know, my 4th grade year. Shout out to, before I even go any further, shout out to the greatest elementary school teacher in the world. She is the GOAT, Mrs. Harris, Mrs. Nannies Harris. That was my 4th grade teacher. And I've spoken about her on this podcast before, but Miss Harris, and she's still with us. Greatest of all time. And 4th grade, I made all A's. And that was the last time that I made all A's. But Miss Harris, I want to say Miss Harris is she was classmates with my mom, actually. And I think they went to school together, elementary school together or something like that, or maybe high school together too. Probably high school too. And then we all went to the same church. And Mrs. Harris is the greatest of all time. I mean, like, there's no better teacher. I mean, like, I learned so much in the 4th grade that I think, she made education fun, but she also made reading fun. She encouraged us to use our voices and speak. So 4th grade probably is the first year that I really, really like talked in class, like literally would get up there and spit bars. Well, not spit bars, but you get my point. You get my point. You get where I'm coming from. But like, I would do presentations all the time. I would do my book reports in front of the class and speak. And I wasn't scared, because I had, Miss Harris definitely gave us, put the battery in my back, if you will. And I do know that she did recommend me to be on the safety patrol. So shout out to Miss Harris. I know you're watching and I know you're listening. I appreciate you as always. I tell you what, we got to take a quick commercial break, but on the other side, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things that we experienced in elementary school. So sit tight. We'll be back in just a second.
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Shop Macy's VIP sale, going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Are you feeling nostalgic for the golden eras of rap and soul music? If so, tune in to the Rap Soul Podcast. We are your weekly journey through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, spotlighting the music and the hidden gems that shaped the soundtrack of our lives. From the powerful beats to the soulful melodies, we bring you the best of the past with fresh insights and stories. Rediscover the music that defined a generation. Subscribe to the Rap Soul Podcast and enjoy the vibes. And just like that, we are back. Once again, it's your boy 12 Kyle. This is the 12 Kyle Podcast, and we're talking about elementary school. Before the break, I gave you a couple of examples of things that I really, really enjoyed about elementary school. Picture day, being the line leader, being a part of the safety patrol, and also shouting out the great Miss Harris. Now, be clear. There was a difference between the safety patrol and the class monitor. That was another thing that we did in elementary school. There was a class monitor, and the class monitor would be responsible for handling the class if and when the teacher left the class. In other words, the class monitor was the snitch. we didn't view it as such, but looking back on it now, yeah, the class monitor was the snitch. They were the person who, let's say our teacher, Miss James, had to go to the front office for something, right? So she has to go to the front, so she has to leave our classroom. Now, keep in mind, if she leaves the classroom, there are no other adults in the class. It's just a bunch of, I don't know, 11, 12-year-olds. So, you know, we keep in mind, this is the 80s, so we didn't have cell phones, right? So, you know, you could either read or you could talk to your friends. And more often than not, the teacher didn't really care if you were talking to your friends, but obviously everybody can't be talking at the same time, and you can't be loud. And the class monitor would be the one who would, if you got loud, write your name on the board. They would write your name on the board. So like I said, this was an early version of snitching. We just didn't know what it was. And so, like, I'll give you an example. So Miss James goes to the office. She has to go do something or whatever. So she puts Tanya in charge. She's the class monitor. Well, me and my buddy Kelly are talking. And Kelly, because Kelly developed bass in his voice long before anybody else did. I mean, Kelly sounded like a grown man at like when we were in like the 4th grade. So Kelly started. So Kelly and I are talking, and she's like, "Hey, you guys got to keep it down." And Kelly continues to talk, and he gets louder. And so she writes Kelly's name on the board. And Kelly says, "Well, hey, what'd you write my name on the board for? Like, you ain't my mama." And then so she goes and puts a check mark by his name. Now, the concept might sound foreign to you, but a check mark meant that not only did we have to be reprimanded, but you continued on, basically. So if you got 3 check marks, like, that was grounds for you to get in some serious trouble while the teacher was out. So Kelly got 2. By the time the teacher got back, Kelly had 2 check marks. So she got mad, and I think she made him do some extra work or something like that. But yeah, class monitors, they weren't cool. Like, I never wanted to be the class monitor because here's the thing. I knew my friends, and I knew my friends how they got down. And I knew that as soon as the teacher left, I wanted to talk and they wanted to talk. So I couldn't be a part of the establishment of ratting people out. But yeah, the class monitors were never cool. Shout out to Tanya. Another thing that I remember about elementary school was the awards programs. We would get a lot of awards, and I'll be honest, some people are really, they're not fans of giving little kids awards, because nowadays it seems like everybody gets an award and it's kind of like a participation thing. Well, yes and no. Here's what I'll say. I don't think everybody deserves an award, because everybody doesn't work to get an award. However, I think, especially at that age, I think it's very important to give kids awards, because it starts them on a trend of being recognized for their accomplishments. And for some kids, they need that pat on the back. And for others, they need that as motivation. And for others, they just don't care. But some of the awards we would get, like for perfect attendance, like that was always a mind-boggling to me. We're supposed to go to school and we're supposed to be there every day. But to get an award for coming every day, I mean, looking back on it now, it's kind of corny, but in theory, if you got 180 days to go to school and you don't miss a day, I think that's a pretty good accomplishment. You should be recognized for it, no matter how corny I think it might be. But yeah, so awards like that, obviously you get awards for your grades and stuff like that. And the cool part about it back then was they weren't really trying to give awards to people who didn't deserve them. So there's a possibility that there could be an award show and there'd be some kids that don't get any awards. And they really didn't care about their self-esteem or anything. That's just how it was in the 80s. We didn't care. So, but that was a great time. What else? I mentioned earlier recess. Recess was the best. That was when we got a chance to go outside and blow off some steam. Recess in elementary school was everything, because everybody hit the playground. We had the monkey bars, we had the merry-go-rounds, we had slides, and you weren't afraid to do anything, and now that I think about it, at least in my elementary school, there was very little supervision. I mean, like, the teacher let us go out there, and I'm not saying we were outside by ourselves, but there was usually not a teacher nowhere in sight. I mean, like, we just pretty much roamed the playground. Like, the teachers were there to make sure that you didn't leave the campus, but other than that, man, we was having a good time, and playing games. No hide and seek or nothing like that, but what was we play? I mean, obviously we play little boys, we play football, freeze tag, and all kind of other little ghetto games. But yeah, recess was the best. Recess, I look forward to recess every single day. And if it rained, oh my gosh, I hated it. Fortunately, we didn't get a lot of rainy days, but you hated rain because that means you couldn't go outside. So we wanted to eat lunch and get outside and get to playing around with our friends. In conclusion, man, it's like I said, it's all elementary school. Um, Elementary school was fun for me. It was a time where I academically excelled and really started figuring out who I was as a person. The self-discovery really didn't come until like high school, but gaining the confidence that would later on propel me in life, it happened right there in elementary school. And I mean, I had some great teachers like Miss Harris, Miss Phillips. That was one thing me and Sean were talking about. We were talking about some of our old elementary school teachers, and like he was like, you think they passed away? I mean, like we're 50 now. Like I'm 51. I think Sean's 50. No, Sean should be 51 now too. And so like, you got to think if our teachers, even if our teachers were like in their 30s back then, like they got to be like 80 now. So hopefully they're still around. But we had some great teachers that had pretty good principal. I remember even like my dad was, he was on the, what was it, PTA. He was the president of the PTA for like 2 years, and he enjoyed that. So, having my parents involved and stuff like that. So elementary school was dope. And it's funny because like as I have these conversations with my kids now, my kids will tell me things about, their elementary school experience. And I know I lived it because I was here with them, but sometimes I'm like, I don't remember that. And then it's interesting because they all went to the same elementary school, not at the same time, obviously, but most of them have had the same teacher, like our oldest son, Dion, and then Cameron. A lot of the teachers that they had were the same teachers. And then our youngest son, Brandon, he had maybe not all of the same teachers, but a couple of the same teachers. And then our daughter, Skylar, she only went to that elementary school from like pre-K to like the 4th grade, and then she went to another school. But yeah, so it's like all of the teachers knew our kids and they knew us because we'd been there for so long. But yeah, but it pales in comparison to my elementary school days in the 80s. Great times. And I'll be honest. Those times helped make me be the man that I am today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. The podcast drops every Thursday and every Sunday at midnight. We also have a new baby. Not literally, but we have a new baby. It's called the Rap Soul Podcast. It's hosted by me. The Rap Soul Podcast is where the intersection of rap and soul music, hip hop and R&B music from the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Go over there and subscribe. Share it with your friends who love music, because it's all music. Every episode is about music from that era and that time. They have a YouTube channel. So do I have a YouTube channel here on the 12 Kyle podcast. So you can watch or listen, because we have both video and audio on our YouTube channels. Again, listen, download and subscribe. The 12 Kyle podcast is on all streaming platforms. Wherever you can find podcasts, that's where you're going to find us. And of course, you can follow me on social media at 12 Kyle, across the board at 12 Kyle podcast. If you would like to continue this discussion, we also have a Reddit page. Go over to the Reddit page, 12 Kyle podcast, and join the discussion there as well. And if you would like to make a financial contribution to the podcast, you can. Hit us up on Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. Or you can look in the description box for this particular episode. You'll see a link that says merch. Click that link. You can get 12 Kyle podcast t-shirts, hoodies, and coffee mugs like the one I'm holding right here. And it's super dope. And the great thing about it, the price is relatively cheap. So that's going to do it for me. Once again, I am your boy 12 Kyle. And we'll catch you guys next time. 5 G's. Chill.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the 12 Kyle podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and share this podcast with a friend who needs the 12 Kyle podcast in their life. Every listen, every download, and every share helps us grow. Thanks for being a part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. We appreciate your support. We will catch you next time. 5,000.